Hey people, time for the long overdue garden video, especially for my friends, well, Laura and especially Jerry on Greasy, or that might be the other way around, but here it is. It's been such a strange season that things that should grow at certain rates don't, and flowers that should bloom didn't. We had only a few lilacs. We might not be getting any apples because it was a very warm winter, except for a couple of cold spells where we did hit -20, and then it was nice in March and April, and then cold in May, and it was really screwy. These are the back porch basils. That was a freebie here from Farmer Wayne, because it was after the growing, the selling season, and it had been stressed because it didn't get water. So he's the guy I make horseradish for. So at the end of the season, if he's got stuff left over like that, he sends it my way. Here's one that I bought, and then this is Pascal celery, which I got to taste the other day. I kind of like it. Don't get as much out of it as you do out of a head, but getting enough. And here's another thing I found out front. Had a couple of tiger lilies blooming yesterday. The first one was yesterday, and then this one today. These usually don't open for the first time until July 4th, but here they are, a full week and, 7-10 days early. And then neighbors across the street are just having the end of a graduation party or something, so a little bit of noise, and the guard dog at the business. So the second freebie basil, and a hydrangea bush that I got at Aldi's last year. That's taken its time. The old stalks, I used to have these down in Queens 60 years ago, so I don't remember. It didn't bloom off it didn't produce leaves off the old stalks, but it's still alive, so hopefully. And then the other celery and some mint in a pot. Mint will take over anything any way you plant it. And then of course is what I call the oasis, because this is like, here's the parking area and the garage, and then there's the oasis as you come around towards the house. Anyway, this is not what I call garden, so that's not what I'm here for. Over here is more of those plants. I can't identify these yet. I still don't know what these things are. These were planted from seed, and I don't know if they're sage or something else, but they're doing it. A little pot with tiger lilies and stuff in it. Now I had to draw a map here, because usually I have no clue what's planted where. So this year I did the map. Now we're heading into a drought situation. It rained in the beginning of June, and then really we haven't had much of anything since then. So really not a good situation. So I've been out with the hose, which is the only reason why it looks pretty decent. So down there is what used to be the potato patch. Now I'm turning back to grass. It's too shady to grow anything. And then the area where the wild leeks come up, so that I don't mess with. Then a row of beans. And these 2 rows here that are doing so well, unfortunately they're spaghetti squash, which I don't really prefer. And then the next 2 rows, and Donna won't eat too much of it because it's somewhat carby, I think. The next 2 rows was supposed to be zucchini, and I planted a second time after the first time didn't take, and I'm still not getting anything. And then we got about 7 tomato plants that are doing well. Yep, these are flowering too. So are the ones that we're going to be coming to in a minute. Not big enough to plants themselves. Really don't need to be staked yet, although I'll do it if I hear that we're going to get bad weather. But I've been using generic Miracle Grow, and they've been doing pretty good. And then this was supposed to be six pods of of yellow golden zucchini, and there's only, you know, four mounds produced, so I'm getting some out of that. And then the beans, you can see them in there, I think, through the mesh on the camera. I hope I can see them from without, you know, without the camera. That's the pole beans. Last year the ground critters ate the leaves, and the year before that the deer ate the top part. So hopefully I have it well enough protected this year. So far nothing been in there. I got home on Friday, my friend said, "Oh, look, a rabbit." I'm like, I don't want rabbits in the backyard, you know, because they want to share, but so far no problem. These four in front of the pole beans are butternut squash. I haven't checked this list lately either, so I'm surprising myself as I go. Butternut squash, I love butternuts. They keep pretty well into January. They don't last all season like garlic does, but even if they go into January, I make them with brown sugar and a little flour, brown sugar, nutmeg, cinnamon, and butter into a mush, and then put the butternut squash sliced with, you're supposed to use apples if you got them, which I might have apples this year, I don't know, not many probably, but you put the apples in there and the butternut, and you put the stuff on it, caramelizes on top, and it's really delicious. And so I can eat that instead of potatoes. Next is the garlic patch. I got I think about 6 cloves left in the house, maybe 5. So they're just going to make the end of the season until these are due. If you know how garlic grows, these are actually turning a little brown on the edges too because of the rain. I haven't been watering these until today. These are the scapes, and when they stand up like this, that bulge there is going to become the flower, and when they stand up straight is when they're done. But in the meantime, I started harvesting them. I put some on the grill yesterday with burgers. You harvest the scapes and eat them, and then since it doesn't steal, oh sorry, I dropped the map. Oh. And you eat the scapes, and you harvest the scapes, and then it doesn't take energy away from the plants, so the plant can grow the garlic instead of putting energy into the flower and the scape. Next is horseradish. I already harvested twice this year. I always bring some to Farmer Wayne, the guy who gave me the basil at the end of the season. He still had a lot of plants and stuff in there, especially flowers, because it's been so weird. And it's not he doesn't have a big place that he can afford a lot of losses. But so hopefully people are still shopping down there and buying plants and flowers and whatever. I don't usually invest in flowers unless I could eat them, which I can't. And then we got a row of chives here. I split some of these already, so the row is getting a little bigger. And then more tomatoes. There's 18 tomato plants altogether. 12 of them are beefsteak size, large size, and then that one over there that we looked at before is the cherry tomato, which Donna prefers, the orange ones with less acid. And you get a pretty good idea of what the ground looks like at the section that wasn't watered here. And we got another set of pole beans. You can probably get right over the fence on these and take a look down there. Pole beans. This is the only thing I haven't weeded because I didn't want to take the fence down, but maybe I will along the way, somewhere along the way. Okay, what do we got? Tomatoes, pole bean, and then a yellow hybrid squash, so I got 2 rows of that. Well, there was supposed to be 2. This row over here didn't do anything, so I got like 2 mounds out of 6. And then more tomato plants, and then a row of what? another row of butternut, which are doing okay. So I'll have more butternut, which is unfortunate because we really prefer the yellow squash or yellow zucchini to go with eggs and have with dinner, and it goes with almost everything you can do with that. And then another row of bush beans and black beauty green, well, zucchini, I guess. And then somewhere is supposed to be small pumpkins and large pumpkins. You can see I had some extra seeds from years gone by. Here's some new horseradish too. I had some old seeds, and I just, you know, from 2005 or something. So I just threw them in the compost in the house, and they're growing right out of the compost can. And this is best plants of all, growing out of the compost. They love it. So next year, Donna always thought that raw composting like that is not good, which I always heard that too. You're not supposed to plant on raw compost. I'm trying to see if that's a flower already, but that's something in the compost, I think. Yeah, that's a piece of something, a piece of onion. That you're not supposed to plant on raw compost, but pumpkins love it. This might be the small pumpkins here. The pie pumpkins, the sugar pumpkins. And it's possible that this is where the burn pile is going to be at the end of the season. It's possible that there was another row here that didn't take. So even with the map, I don't know exactly what's going on, but that's it. It's doing okay, and it's, you know, mostly sunny, and I'm keeping it watered, and I'm doing what I can. And you can see up on the hill the sun is still shining over the mountain from across the street and onto the upper part of the hill. Even with the noise across from the neighbors, this is like the best place you could want to live. We haven't had any kind of problems with anybody or anything like that yet, so really good neighborhood. So I hope your summer is doing as well as mine. I finally figured out what's wrong with the air conditioner on the coach. I had the pressure washer out on that yesterday. Got her cleaned up. I don't know that I'll get to use her this year, but at least she's cleaned up. So anyway, I could go on and on, but I'll resist the temptation. Well, one more. Here's the bench that I was planning to donate to the Heart of the Catskills Humane Society. I took it up to camp 2 years ago, and I figured during woodworking shop we would fix it, and it never happened. So I grabbed myself a 2x4 on the right side here at the end and just did the repair work myself, and then painted it the same. That yellow was as close as Ace Hardware could match the house yellow. So and then over here is where Big Ben, it's almost been a year since Benny's been gone already. So he's over here, and some of the flowers didn't take well, but he's right on the property. And that'll shut me up, so have a good summer.